I think there's something wrong with me. Venting. I was super functional when I was a kid. My grades were the best in the class. I was super talented at dancing, and I was very active in physical education. But since I had Hashimoto's thyroiditis, even taking medication, it seems like I've never been the same again. My body didn't grow properly because I had puberty before, so I'm small and weak physically. Besides that, I seem to have become a bit slow, a bit retarded, my grades have dropped, and I can't socialize for a long time, even though I was very sociable before. I'm starting college in a month, and I hope everything goes well, but I'd like to get out of this constant state of lethargy. Life seems to have lost its shine since the symptoms started appearing. I understand that it's just like that as we grow up, but this feeling came overnight. How to end envy? Questions. One thing I used to do without realizing it, but lately I've been realizing it, is to feel jealous whenever I see any couple where the woman is very pretty feminine. I feel jealous of the man who is with her. I know that most men feel this slightly, but I really feel it very strongly. Sometimes I even feel bad and think that I'm not man enough to find a woman like that. Maybe it's just because of some insecurity on my part, but maybe it's something else that I have no idea about. I just wish I could see a couple and have no reaction or be happy for them without that thought of, it could be me coming into my head. Does anyone know how to help me? I felt betrayed, made a fool of. Stories. I rented a commercial space about 5 months ago to a guy who wanted to start a business. The guy was married and lived in a rental property with 4 autistic children, including him. So I rented a commercial space on the corner, where cars and people pass by all the time, for $700, yes, a bargain price. I made a 12-month contract with him. Since it's a 2-story house, my mother and I live upstairs, and the living room is downstairs. Sometimes my mother would get on his nerves, but I always told him not to worry because my mother has a mental disorder. In this case, she would sometimes complain that he would leave trash under our trash can instead of inside the trash can. She would complain to him not to pick up things from the floor when the dogs would take them to the sidewalk, but nothing that would directly affect his business. Recently, he asked to leave because of the reasons I mentioned about my mother. I said okay. He asked if I was going to charge him for the contract, and I said no. I just wanted 1 month, and that's it, being that there were 6 more months to be paid. Then he went to a lawyer, as far as I know, and the lawyer said that if I charged him for that 1 month, he could take me to court, so I didn't even hesitate and let him go, and he was only responsible for the light he used, and he told me that my mother sent him messages. She really did. But it was a good morning message card, and he said that she was harassing him. At the time, I didn't believe it. Then he showed me, and it was those cards. I was laughing in my head, and said that he didn't have money to pay for the remaining months. In short, he rented another room more expensive than mine, and said that he didn't have money to fulfill the contract. Missing femininity. Stories. This is a story with no intention of victimizing myself. I'll try to write this here in the least incel female version way possible. It's impossible not to feel like shit having been born with the least feminine characteristics in our culture, which would be almost non-existent hair, no butt, straight square hips. I don't know. I simply don't go out without worrying that someone will look at me long enough and decide to focus their gaze on my body and face hair. If it were only on my arms and legs, okay, but I have it on my chest, neck, stomach, back, even on my butt. Yes, on my buttocks. Which makes me simply not want to wear anything that shows my body, but now it's summer, and I force myself to use Gillette all over my body, which is bad for my skin, irritates, stains, itches. So my second biggest insecurity is completely inconsistent with the first. That's right. The damn baldness, even though I'm the only woman in my family who has it. Anyway, those of you who have characteristics considered normal, be thankful. I can't stand living like this anymore. Venting. Basically, I live in a house that was given to me that is falling apart. Every week I have to kill 2 or 3 cockroaches that insist on showing up even though I've filled in the holes and left everything clean and without a trace of dirt. The 2 sinks in the house are broken and anything I touch could fall on my feet. There is no running water, although there is plumbing. The house is incredibly hot and I can't put my air conditioning in here, and it's just sitting there in storage. And to make matters worse, my uncle asked for the house for himself. According to him, he's going to renovate it when he returns to Brazil. No one knows when. and I have the impression that he did it because he doesn't want me here. He lives in the mess. I'm very sad about all this. I was already excited about being here, but after asking for the house, a house that nobody rented and had been unoccupied for about 9 years before they gave it to me 2 years ago, or I would have ended up under a bridge. All my energy went to my feet because any improvements I think about making, the house will be delivered in 2 months. And to top it all off, I'm so sad and anxious about all this that I can't figure out what to do to have a good income, because my income is also below the minimum wage. I can't even afford a psychologist anymore. I don't know. I just wanted to get it out. Thank you to those who read.
In love with a committed man? How to forget him? Questions? Yes, I'm in love with a guy who's in a relationship, and I feel like the worst person in the world because of it. We met in a small park in the city where I live. He was the one who started the conversation. We talked for a while, and I realized how fun it was, as well as how beautiful it was. And right there, I felt my heart race. We exchanged numbers and quickly became friends via WhatsApp. Sometimes we would arrange dates, not romantic ones, and as the days went by, I found myself getting more and more lost in him. But the spell ended when he mentioned his girlfriend for the first time. Everything I was starting to feel for him disappeared and made room for guilt. I don't want to distance myself from him because he is a great friend, yes, but I also don't want to ruin someone else's happiness.